today's session is what are the characteristics of an idea in routing protocol? What are the categories of routing protocols? What is the routing protocol in wireless sensor network? So let us discuss one by one in detail. So first we can see flat network architecture. So that is all nodes are considered as a peers. So in that architecture we can include the minimal overhead to maintain their infrastructure. So the potential for discovery for multiple routes between the communicating nodes for fault tolerance. So spin. So spin means it is a sensor protocol for information via negotiation. So the main objective for the spin is to overcome the shortcoming of conventional protocols like flooding. So the basic property for these protocols are data negotiation and resource updation. So it will require the nodes running with the spin. So learn about the content of the data before the data are transmitted between their network nodes. So in that spin, so to carry out the negotiation and data transmission, so we can running the spin use three types of messages. So the first messages is advertise, so that is ADV. So the second message type is request or EQ. Then third type is data. So these are the three types of messages is usually in the spin. So in the spin revision, so we are using what spin PP, then spin easy. So in that spin PP is a basic handshake sequence. So spin easy is when the node energy level can approach the lower threshold. So in that spin BC is designed for the broadcast networks whether the ADE signal will reach all the sensor in the coverage area of the sources. So in the spin RL, so it is a reliability and will overcome the message for transmission occur is caused by the lost channels. So next is directed diffusion. So directed diffusion is a data centric paradigm for the sensor query. So for the processing it will provide energy efficiency, scalability and robustness. So in that spin, so in that the direct diffusion is a sink is the node so that broadcasts the request for a specific data throughout the network, so that is called as interest messages. So in that replay link will pointing there towards the neighbor node from which is interested is received. So then GBR. So the GBR is a gradient based routing. So it is a variation of directed diffusion. So the each node memorize the number of hops. So when the interest is diffused, so the each node compute its height. So that is the minimum number of hops to the base station. So the difference between the node's height and its neighbor is a gradient on the link. So forward packet on the link with the largest gradient. So for the data aggregation, so when there are multiple paths pass through the node, so the node can combine the data. So this GBR is used for the traffic spreading. So that is randomly pick the gradient when two or more next hub have the same gradient. So it is a energy based scheme and also it is a steam based scheme. Then rumor routing. So rumor routing is that don't have their flood interest or queries. So this flood events. So when the number of events is small means the number of queries are large. For example, when a node generates the query, a node knowing the route to the corresponding event so can respond by looking up with the event table. So in that no need for query flooding. So the route query to the node so that have observed the particular event. So in that rumor routing it will works well only when the number of event is small. So the agent travel the network to propagate their information about the local event. So for the defining the route of an event agent, so it is highly affect the performance of the next hop selection. So occur, so it is a view of WSN is a distributed DB. So it is a complex query. So that is divided into the subqueries. So the base station can send the queries. So when the node generate the this directed diffusion so cannot handle the complex query due to so much flooding. So it can adjust the efficient query processing. So if D is a network diameter means so this occur become the similar to the flooding. So once the query is resolved is completely so it send back to the base station via the reverse path or the shortest path. So then hierarchical protocol. So the main aim of this hierarchical routing is efficiently maintain their energy consumption of sensor node. So by involving them in multiple hop communication within a particular cluster. So it will performing the data aggregation and fusion in order to decrease the number of transmitted message to the same. That's it for today. If you have any queries, you can contact their mail ID which is displayed on your screen. Thank you.